Hi, and welcome back to Making Video Your Business, the podcast for business professionals aiming to encourage you to think more seriously about the video content you put out for your business. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Neil Baldock, who has a couple of businesses based in Essex. The first of which, the one we're actually going to talk about, is his consultancy business, the Baldock Brothers, that he runs with his brother Matt. Neil, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time.
Great to see you, mate. Thanks for having us on.
Can you just give us a bit of a background of who you are? Obviously, we know each other. I know a bit about your potted history, but could you give a bit of background to our viewers and our listeners to sort of find out where you've come from?
I guess I kind of got into the estate agency world fresh out of school, really. I'd always been in sales roles before that, in mostly retail from like the age of 16 and stuff like that, Saturday jobs, and then I went into retail. And that's where I really found that I loved sales. And my brother was working in an estate agency in Chelmsford. And he introduced me to the area manager, and I got my first job in the estate agency. I'm actually working in Bishop Stortford, which is sort of half hour, 40 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
Did that for a few years between Chelmsford and Bishop Stortford, moved around branches, and then I took a break from the industry. Actually, I went into the security world. I was like an area manager for a big security company running door security and security guards, that kind of stuff, all across the country. Business development role as well, bringing on new business and that sort of stuff. And then I thought, I need a proper career. I want something proper. So I became a police officer for 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that with Essex Police for 6 years. And then just realised I miss business. I miss doing deals and making sales, because you can't really do that in the police. They don't like that sort of thing. So I actually set up my own letting agency whilst I was in the police, and built it up to a level where it was just like too busy. Matt was with Charles David Casson. He was a partner in that business. So we had a conversation and decided to just basically merge mine into theirs and do that. And then a couple of years later, me and Matt did a management buyout of that company. We actually sold a lettings portfolio. So we exited that, kept the brand, brought it back to Chelmsford, where we're local. We're sort of born and bred Chelmsford. And we've gone from there.
So all of those, every single one of them has got a common thread. So they're all very people focused. They're all very focused on whether it's security, it's looking after events and dealing with the public. The police officers help, support, and deal with the general public. Whether you're a letting agent or you're an estate agent, you're very public facing. Do you think all of that sort of experience helps you now? Because obviously you will have dealt with people from every breadth of society, from police, obviously, very broad, security, and then obviously in property. Do you think all that combined helps you now?
100%, yeah. I think it's all, the common theme is being a good communicator, really, and level-headed communication, resilience. I think, funny enough, we talk a lot about police officers. Their skills actually transfer really well into the property world, because you want problem solvers, good communicators, action takers, resilient. So all of those kind of skills just sort of run through what we do. But yeah, it gives me, I don't panic about stuff, because I've seen some sort of pretty bad stuff, and you can't panic in that sort of environment. So if a sale's falling through, or someone's washing machine's broken down in a rental agency, it's
not life or death.
It's not life or death, exactly.
And you've seen those sort of scenarios. So,
yeah, exactly.
So you've got a level head then, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. It just gives me a different outlook to what some people have.
Yeah. That sort of shared experience. Because are you 40 yet?
I'm 40 in a couple of months.
Yeah, you're just 40. So you're sort of getting into that sort of middle part of your career, and all of that early learning from all of those different jobs has given you the opportunity now to consolidate all that knowledge and really apply that. You've spoken quite concisely about communication. Video content for me is one of the most fundamental ways that we can, in 2023 and forward, communicate to mass market, but also to our client base. How important do you think video content has become in your business, and that level of communication?
Oh, it's massively important. Yeah, I don't think we would have built the business we have, or the businesses we have, without using video, because, like you say, it just enables you to reach a mass audience that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. It enables you to speak once, i.e. to the camera, and reach hundreds or thousands of people at once,
depending on where you're going.
Yeah, and that conversation is then there forever. So you can just keep repurposing it and reusing it. But also for us, it allows us to become known and more well known with people before we've even met them. So we often get stopped in the street by people, and they'll be like, "Oh, hi," and sometimes you sort of are thinking, who are you? You know what I mean?
Of course, people would come here for training courses, or they'd see us at the Esters or property market conferences or events or whatever. They go, "Oh, hi Chris, hi Matt," you know, whatever. And we'd never met them before, but they feel like they know you, and it's that kind of bit of knowledge about who they are, how they operate, who they, you know, what they're like. So do you feel like you're getting some of that benefit?
Yeah, definitely. I think you almost feel like quite well known within maybe like a small pond. I have to sort of explain to my friends sometimes because they're not necessarily interested in my video content, because they're not in the property business. But we become quite well known, and actually that's where really the Baldock Brothers brand, which is our consultancy side, came from, because we would turn up to events and people would go, "Oh, it's the Baldock Brothers." So it's not really an imaginative name for a business. It's just like the brand became. It's who we are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the key thing about that is it's not about volume. People, I mean, we'd love it if thousands and thousands of people watch it, but that's not the key for us. It's the right people engaging with us and watching it that then think, "Oh, do you know what? Actually, no, Neil's probably got something interesting. He could probably offer us something as a business owner. Chris could probably offer us something." Do you think you benefit from that?
Yeah, definitely, because I suppose we're sharing our content in estate agency groups, so we're directing and sort of targeting
within a local area
where we put our content, and with the estate agency side in community groups and things like that. So we're not looking for the mass market, I suppose. We're directly looking for people either who want to sell or rent houses, or business owners within the estate agency world.
Talk to me about how you first engaged with video, because you started using video quite a long time ago.
Yeah, I'd say we were really early adopters of it. Like, before the majority of agents were doing it, me and Matt were like, "Let's get on camera," and we made these really basic videos, just on the iPhone in the office, and we had something called the Chelmsford Property Show, and I think we started that in like, I don't know, 2015, 2016, something like that. But we weren't consistent enough with it, and that's, we can obviously talk about that as well. But you know, since then we've just kept doing it, and I think obviously you always want to make gradual improvements on anything. That's sort of like key business lesson, the 1% rule, and just compounding it and everything. But in terms of the video, just get started is, like, I think is just get on, make some video, and that's what we did.
I don't feel like you're the sort of person that would flap, because I know when we started running video training stuff in about 2016, there was a big fear of getting in front of lens, getting in front of a camera and being judged and all that other sort of stuff. And actually, we always say that the worst thing that can happen if you make a piece of content is that no one watches it, because you've wasted your time. Having to get in front of cameras for webcam and for Zoom calls, because before COVID, Zoom and Teams and all those things, they were confined to super corporate monster teams that operated globally, and you could only really meet with your team. One of the guys is in Lisbon, another one's in Gibraltar, another one's in Santa Fe, another one's in Sydney, right? The only way you could consolidate was by doing it digitally, right? Because you're not going to fly across the world for a meeting.
So I think Zoom and Teams and all that kind of stuff has changed how we do business, like 100%. I mean, there's even agents in the industry now conducting valuations and still conducting valuations quite successfully over Zoom and stuff like that. But I think in terms of people and their nerves and stuff like that, we're all getting more used to being filmed and making video calls to people, and even like FaceTimes and WhatsApp calls. You can do that on video now, can't you? But I think it's funny because I'm typically quite a confident guy, especially sort of like one-on-one and with groups of friends and stuff like that.
Police officer, so you've got to be pretty bold. Certain situations,
100%. But you just you do that in the moment, I guess. But I mean, I was not a confident public speaker, and my brother wasn't as well, and he'll happy to kind of tell you that. And when we first started doing video, we were really nervous about it. But the more you do it, the better you get. And I think that's what it's all about. It's just keep practicing, and it'll come with sort of time. But I also think by doing it on video, you're improving. It's good self-development because you're improving your public speaking skills as well.
Do you think it's vital? So that's the question, because Matt and I, obviously, we make video for a living, right?
Yeah.
And we're working with businesses across lots of different industries. Property, we work with people like yourself in property industry, of course, but we work across industry. And we're always saying, how important video content is, but it's easy for us to say that because we make it. But do you think that visual content is now vital for business?
Yeah, I think it's not an option anymore. It's a necessity, isn't it? It's like you are running whatever business you're running and a media company, basically, and those two are sandwiched together now. Because how else can you get your message out? So, we're in a social media age, and everything does better on social media via a video. People have got a smartphone in their pocket now, which they can watch videos even whilst they're at their desk working, or going to the toilet, or whatever they might be doing.
Yeah.
So, if you're not putting yourself into that ring, then you're probably not in the game.
How do you think it's changed the face of your consultative business coaching, business development business? How do you think visual content's improved that?
I think, again, it's just that we've become known without having to pick up the phone and cold call hundreds of agents and ask them, do they want any help? We can just share our knowledge for free, put stuff out there, and people will then either just take that and use it or not use it, or decide we don't like those guys, or actually we really like those guys, and we just, it's a way to get more known and reach people. You just wouldn't be able to do it any other way.
The consistency or lack of consistency, do you think that harms business?
Yes, definitely, yeah. Because, it's just the fact that if you're going to do something, you've got to commit to it and do it. If you stick one video out, you get obviously a few people watch it or whatever, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do the number of touch points you need with people. It's not going to go far enough. And then if you don't consistently do it, obviously when you make your next one, people have already forgotten about you or not seen you. So you've got to do it consistently to build the traction with it.
So in terms of consistency then, so you started the Chelmsford property show.
Yeah.
Is that what it was called? Chelmsford
Property
Show. And you started that in 2016.
Yeah.
How long did you do it for?
Not long enough and not consistently enough. So that was our biggest mistake. That's,
because where do you think you'd be now if you had been consistent? Because you're talking, that's like 6-7 years.
Yes.
And you were an early adopter of video content. If you've been making 7 years worth of video content, where do you think you might be now?
Who knows, but a lot further forward than we probably are. That was our biggest mistake, was starting it, doing it, stopping it, doing it, and then just not continuing with it.
But you've picked it up recently, and obviously over the last sort of 2 years, would you say, you've picked it up and you've started to repurpose video content into your business?
That's right. Yes.
What sort of content are you making now?
Yeah, so we make a lot of content around the property market, the local property market, and I make a lot around landlord legislation and HMO content, because I run a network of HMO agencies as well. So educational content for our target markets, basically.
So in terms of the Baldock Brothers then, and that consultative business, what does that do for people?
Well, it helps them. It helps them to think about things they perhaps haven't thought about. It just gives free content that people can actually pick up and become educated on. It gives them a view from, the thing is with me and my brother is we're offering a consultancy service, we're actually operating our own agency as well.
So you're well placed.
So we're really well placed, and without sort of sounding arrogant, there's historically been a lot of consultants within our industry who aren't necessarily still in a state agency or haven't actually started. They might have been a high level manager or a director at a big company, but they haven't actually started it from their bedroom, grown it, exited it, built another one. And I think that's where we're a bit different. We've kind of seen every single possible thing
part of it,
you could see, from starting it up to exiting it and then starting again. So we're just trying to offer kind of all round advice to help agents out. Our whole vision, that's what throughout both of our businesses, or all of our businesses, is about improving this industry. So if we can help agents to do better, to be able to charge more money, to give a better service to the public, we want to do that. And in our own estate agency business, we want to do that as well.
Speaking about charging more money, what's the average estate agency fee these days? 1%?
1%, I would say,
1%.
yeah.
There's a lot of noise around 2%. At 2% agents, and I see a lot of that. And when we work with some agents who are 2% agents, and they've become 2% agents by thinking broadly and thinking very differently about how they engage with their target markets. And the reason they're doing that is they're leveraging visual content. They're leveraging that content, and it's allowing them to differentiate in their market. Do you think it is feasible for other agents across the UK to do that?
Yes, I do. I think it takes time and belief. So yes, you've got to put you've got to. People are happy to pay where they see value. That's my big belief. Is as long as if you can demonstrate your value, people will pay for it, and you can do that. And I think doing video and becoming well known and providing all these market insights adds to that value. But I think it starts within the agent, and they've got to have the belief in themselves. And it also depends what you're trying to achieve in your agency. So if you are trying to become the market leader and grow your market share, then going straight out and asking for 2% probably isn't going to do that for you. But if you're trying to increase your profit rather than just your market share, then maybe that is going to do it for you. So I think it's about what you're kind of trying to achieve in your own local market and in your own business, and your belief. But also then you've got to build that belief as well. So it's no good going from telling your team, I want you to go from 1% to 2%.
Yeah. They've
got to sort of build that over time.
And demonstrate value.
Yes,
that's the key. And I think where agents are winning, and actually there's some fantastic agents who genuinely can't get to 2% because just the market conditions in their towns and their cities just will not allow it. You know, and I know that might be contrary to popular opinion, like, oh, you know, anyone could be, but actually I was chatting to a colleague and friend of mine, and who's a client of ours, you know, Vaughan Schofield, who's based in Wrexham. And just the wealth just isn't there, and like a 2% agent it just won't work because it won't. And Alan Batt, who operates in Wigan, you know, said the same thing. Like he said, it just won't stand. Like they can get higher, but I think at that point it's okay, fine, you can't be a 2% agent because it's not feasible. But where can you get to? So do you think agents can stand away and differentiate by just almost rejigging what their service offer looks like?
Yeah, and it's how you present it to the client as well, isn't it? It's really what does that client want and what do they see the value of. If somebody thinks they know everything, they believe their house is going to sell like a hot cake and they just want to put it on with an online agent, then good luck to them. But as we all know, houses don't just sell themselves, and there's a lot more that goes into it. So that's where you've got to explain that to the client. And it's like with landlords, we have it as well. You know, we've got to actually... 170 pieces of legislation, but they don't know about it. So we use video content to put that out there and explain that to them. And then when they say they don't want to pay our fee, we've got a whole bank of stuff on our YouTube channel. We say, well, look, go and have a watch of that, because that's easier than me selling it to them.
Well, it stands your way as experts.
Exactly.
And that's the key part. I think that's the key, you know, to be able to display expertise. And like, you know, from my perspective, know what I know about your businesses. I know that you're expert in what you do, but obviously it's demonstrating that to people who might not have engaged with you before. Yeah,
definitely. And I think people have got to just stop or come out of the mindset of just because everyone else charges that, we must as well. Like, why? Are you the same as them, or are you better than them? And if you believe, not arrogantly, but if you genuinely believe within yourself you're better than your competitors, then why not try and charge a little bit more money for your services? If you're then delivering the value, you've got to back it up as well.
Fantastic. Neil, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. I wish you every success with both of your businesses going forward.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.